everybody. Welcome. This is an exciting reveal. We have the first episode of Frontier Stories from Starfield that we're kicking off tonight, raising for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And if you look in the top left corner, you will see that we passed $50,000, 50,281 raised so far, and we still are only halfway through our campaign, which is just absolutely insane. Thank you for the follow, Jericho. Jericho knew me. I am joined tonight by a really special guest, and we're going to have even more guests later with a really awesome Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles t-shirt. Brian Bachman, who is the writer for tonight's episode. How are you?
Hey, man. Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this for so long.
It's been a long ride. We were talking just before we got started. Now, Brian, I think you finished this episode a good over a year ago in terms of writing.
After you brought me on, I think I finished that first draft like in less than 30 days. Yeah.
Wow. And the rest of us were, Brian made us look bad.
I got excited.
Brian cranked his story out and we're like, yeah, we should probably, just months ago, we're like, yeah, we should probably finish writing these, get the one. Yeah, we're going to be starting officially at 6:15, so this will be dropping here on Twitch. Brian brought in his cast, and we're going to be joined by them after the episode. So promptly at 6:15, so just in a little over 7 minutes, we'll be switching over, and we'll play that episode for you right here on Twitch, and then having a little discussion panel afterward. One quick thing that I did want to mention. The link to donate is right there in chat. And also, our friends at Noble Chairs are giving us a Starfield Special Edition gaming chair. That's a $639 value to give away the end of this month. So if you click the link right there, you can enter to win. You've got time to do that before our story starts. And while we wait here for the countdown, Brian, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself? How did you get into writing?
Oh, okay. I went to school. There you go. No. I
Thanks for
joined the
tuning in,
army.
everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time. I joined the Army after high school. I was in the 82nd Airborne Division, deployed to both Iraq and Afghanistan. And when I got out of the Army, I found myself without a sense of direction or purpose. Kind of had this nice mentor who helped me get my feet underneath me, saying, just in your wildest dreams, what do you do? And I said, I don't know. It'd be cool to like be an actor. And he said, then that's what you're going to do. And it just blurted out of me. I'd never expressed interest in it before. So I luckily deployed with a couple of guys who ended up getting into the production side of the entertainment industry and called them up going, what the heck do I do now? And they started to point me in the right direction. Now I had a GI Bill that I had no plans to go to college. And it wasn't until I found out that Full Sail University was right down the road from me and that the Army would pay me money to go to school. And I was developing as an actor and starting to enjoy digesting the text that other people were writing. And I would often kind of go, it should say this instead. Like I wanted to have more control over the words that the characters were saying. So I went to school there at Full Sail for a few years and got the degree there in screenwriting itself. And since then, I've really just used the knowledge that I've gotten to help with the acting career. But every now and again, the stars align and I get to write something really cool, and being brought on here to work with you and your team has been just a delight from beginning to now.
Thank you. Yeah, and this story, I can't wait for you all to hear it tonight. It's something really, really special, and you brought along some really fantastic fantastic acting talent with you.
Yes, on top of me being in it, just we'll start there. Okay. But yes, Lori Katz is quite the fantastic actress. She is playing our heroine and our lead Delilah. Justin Dealey, everybody loves Justin, and you'll hear him play Cormac Everglade Greaves, and then Andy Guion. Also, these are all people who have, and that's the fun about kind of being an actor is the idea of being a movie star is it's such a different beast. But it's the people you see in the movies that are moving around these central characters. Those are real professionals, and that's where Lori and Justin and Andy and I and Kara, who is the voice of the ship, have all excelled. So I don't know why they all said yes. Justin said yes before I showed him the script, which was really wild. But then after I sent him the script, he was really on board. So I think we had something special right from the rip. We were talking before we went live of how when you brought me on, the game hadn't released yet, but they had released a bunch of like little bit of info about it. So I just digested all that info in one big gulp. And I just didn't know what to write about. And as I was reading that stuff over and over and over again, this story of, in space, no one can hear you scream, right? And that's the old adage.
He said the
now.
thing.
That that's so funny. Man, it must be lonely out there. And that's kind of what the beginnings of it was. That it's probably pretty lonely, even if you are from this world. So what happens when you take somebody who is already intrinsically lonely and put them in an even lonelier environment? And that's how this was born. So I'm really excited to listen to it.
We've got just about 2 minutes before we kick off. Thank you. We've got some new people joining us. Hello, Scald. How are you? Unique Carnage, what's up? Garrett Horsch, hey, how are you? Andrew, welcome. JJ, Holly Fallout 76, welcome everybody. Chinny, thank you very much for the subscription. And you stream here on Twitch.
Yes, my wife and I stream together. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, this is a really cool story. We're going to be starting now in 1 minute. And if you haven't yet, the podcast is on Spotify, Apple, iTunes. We're going to be cranking out more stories. They're all written, they're recorded. They're waiting on editing, which means me and my editor to get busy here after the St. Jude campaign. All of the stories that everyone have done this season are truly exceptional, really well acted. I'm really excited to bring you something a little different than the Chad stories that we've done to date. And going into this, this is a unique podcast as well, in that we're doing it a little bit as if it was a sci-fi anthology series in the 90s. So you'll get a little bit of a feel with that, with the intro, outro, and some of the orchestration that we did. And it is now 6:15, which means it's time to start our story. So grab some space popcorn or frozen astronaut ice cream, and we're going to play that right now.
Since the dawn of time and the first sparks of life, humanity throughout millennia has looked up in wonder and horror at the stars above. We invite you to join us for a journey into the limitless reaches of space and the darkest voids of the human heart. Weapons of war come at the cost of those who will do the building, those who will mine the resources, and those who will seek those resources out. There are those individuals who wear the same insignia of a grand organization, yet carry the mantle of the individual soul. In this transmission from Brian Bachman, we'll discover that it is not the organization that is often struck, but the individual whose traumatic life is exploited by those who seek to do the harm. It is in the darkness and solitude of space that those that seek to exploit hunt those that would be exploited.
Playback. Roger that, Command. We have entered the Narian system, expecting to lose radio contact shortly. We will encounter the foreign object in T-minus 2 hours. We'll re-enter contact in T-minus 4 hours.
Copy that, Neon Lights. Re-establish contact as soon as you re-enter the settled systems. You are on your own from this point on. For the Constellation, the last group of space explorers.
End playback.
For the Constellation.
For the Constellation.
Oh, Stars Beyond, Sam. I thought you were still charging.
Starman Delilah, are we out of communication range with Command, being this far into the Narian system?
We are. That transmission was sent hours ago. We are too deep to send anything back now. Are you done charging?
Negative. I can charge later. Although my eyes are robotic, we will need both yours and mine as we travel further into uncharted star sectors. Could be dangerous.
Uncharted waters.
Negative. There is no water upon exiting the Neon Light space vessel. Just endless space. There is very little breathable oxygen as well. You would die.
All done charging, Jabber? Take port watch. You're the only one small enough to sit comfortably in that nook.
Jabber needs servicing. And proper registering.
I will. Later.
You are not supposed to create sentience without licensing from automation on Jemison.
Well, we didn't have a crew, Sam. We need an extra pair of hands and eyes, right? I'll take the heat if we're caught. You don't have to put your neck out for us. Plus, he's cute.
And illegal. Could you have at least have given him a voice box?
I didn't have one on me. We'll pick one up eventually.
That was one of your sayings before. Wasn't it, Delilah?
Yes.
Is there much water on your home planet where Neon is, Delilah?
You could say that.
I should learn more about its history since our vessel is named for it. Perhaps when we return. Now is not a good time, Jabber. Fine. I'll ask. Starman Delilah.
Yes, Sam? Oh, look. Large masses seem to be drifting up ahead.
Why am I here?
Because we're going to go see what this big floating object is over there, so that the Constellation can sell any of its resources to the highest bidder and the war can keep going. What are those?
Starman Delilah.
Yes, Sam.
I know why Jabber and I are on this mission, but why am I here?
I don't understand the question. Well, we're getting close. It's big. Yes.
Yes, Jabber. I'm inquiring. Every other pilot for the Constellation has a living co-pilot. I was pulled from my maintenance bay, placed in this chair, and told to wait for Starman Delilah Bordell and assist her as her co-pilot.
Yeah, so why do you ask if you already know? Oh, look, it's an asteroid belt.
Is it because you received record low marks on your peer review in flight school?
What? Why do you care?
Knowing one's purpose when facing peril, as is common in our profession, is key to ensure starmen persist in their missions, to overcome insurmountable...
Yes, there it is. It's a planet. I knew it. Let's bring it around to the opposite side of the asteroid belt, Sam. We're gonna be rich. Oh, come on. Yes, signs of water.
Starman Delilah, please compose yourself.
Oh,
you are a
geez.
starman of the constellation. And you are scaring Jabber.
Jabber, prepare the mining vessel for departure. The readings say it's an uninhabitable now, but there's definitely water down there. Who knows what other resources it has down there? The bonus on this is going to be huge. We need samples.
Starman Delilah, this planet-like object is larger and more resource-heavy than you anticipated. Perhaps I should fully charge for the mining process.
Agreed. I knew this one would be a winner.
Agreed with your agreement. You appear to be naturally gifted at planet hunting. Good instincts. I'll power down while you prepare Jabber and I for departure. Override me if you need any, sir.
If there's some sort of ore, Jupiter's moon, that would be great.
In a time long ago, in a place where grass would grow, a very pleasant summer road, and that's why the cow crows.
You're broadcasting over.
Excuse me while I remove my boot from my mouth.
No worries. You have a lovely voice. Out.
You think so? My mama used to say I'd redirect an incoming meteor with my singing. So that feels good. You have a nice flight.
How do you know I'm in flight?
Just assumed. You're coming in pretty broken and distorted. Are you a passing meteor by chance?
Depends. What's the weather like down there?
Down where?
Oh, are you in flight?
That's right. We gotta be floating near each other, though. Same sector for sure. I'm call sign Everglade, by the way.
Neon lights.
Maybe we meet up for a coffee and stargazing neon night. What coordinates you at?
Coffee and stargazing? That's your best line. Come on, Everglade.
That's one of them, yeah. Do you want my coordinates then?
Ah, noble attempt, but I'll pass. What do you know about this sector? Any habitable planets out there? I hear there are ones with water. Know of any with metals?
You planet hunting? Are you one of them Star Charters neon lights?
As a matter of fact, I am.
Oh, okay. You with the constellation then?
That's right.
Wow, way out here. Well, now we should definitely get some coffee. I bet you got some stories behind your ears. I'll put some on.
What are you doing, Starman Delilah?
Sam, what? Nothing.
No, Jabber, she was not speaking to me.
It's fine.
Any voice from that box out here should not be trusted. We are in an uncharted star sector, Starman.
Newsflash, Sam. You are a voice in the box. If you touch my radio again, I'll jettison you out of here in pieces. Got it? Aren't you supposed to be charging right now?
We are not generating enough power. We are too far removed from a solar source. Or perhaps my charging port needs service. Or the ship's charging port.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Look at that. Oh, look at that. green?
It seems the surface of that planet is unstable. Those are chemical reactions taking place that are catastrophic in size. That green glow is only pleasant because we are 735 kilometers from the planet's surface. The science behind the perception of green is rather fascinating. For context, it is similar to what you would see in...
Fireworks. It looks like fireworks, Sam.
There.
Reminds me of home. The lights look just like... Hold on! Whoa. The seismic activity is completely off the charts. Look at these readings. They're... Oh, brace!
Bracing!
Ah!
Alert.
Starman, are you alright?
I think so. Check the systems.
Alert.
All systems.
What?
Oh my.
Why are we securing ourselves again?
Because of that.
The asteroid belt.
Collision.
Hold on!
Bracing!
Jabber, get up here! The explosion from the surface pushed the asteroid field right at us. Status report, Sam.
Checking systems.
Jabber? Check the ship for internal damages. Go. Talk to me, Sam.
Thrusters down. Operating at 0% capacity, and the miner is damaged as well.
We need to fix the thrusters first.
You are not qualified to repair the neon lights, Starman Delilah.
No, I am not.
Standard protocol dictates that we send out a distress beacon to the SS Horizon.
And have them take credit for finding the planet?
Delilah?
What does SAM stand for again?
Supply aerial, maintenance, and mapping.
Suit up then, maintenance droid.
How you doing, Sam?
Not well, Delilah. I am not rated for weightlessness. I am 232.69 kilograms. My systems are not functioning well in this weightless environment.
Is that fear in your voice?
I do not see the humor. As an organism that would die horrifically without your suit, one would think you would share in my reservation.
Don't be such a baby.
I am only 3 years old. I fear you may need psychiatric evaluation upon our return to the horizon. The only plausible explanation for your delight in our circumstance is psychosis.
I've lived on the edge my whole life, Sam. Just relax and have some fun for once. This is amazing.
Delilah! Delilah? Do you realize you have let go of the side of the neon lights? The only thing keeping you from floating away to your death is your emergency strap. Do you realize this?
You look good from out here.
Your composure under pressure is noteworthy.
Thanks.
As is your recklessness.
This safety strap is totally secure, Sam.
I meant the voice on the radio.
I hear you, okay? Sorry.
Uncharted star sectors are unregulated, unpatrolled, and a breeding ground for nefarious species.
Wow. The lights are even more beautiful out here.
Yes. I've never seen anything so
Beautiful?
devastatingly destructive.
There was this place on Neon where the lights would flash just like this. Beautiful pulsing sequences. I would sit in my window and just stare at it until I couldn't keep my eyes open any longer.
There.
Done?
No. But I have exposed the problem. We can finish from inside.
Let's get it finished now then.
I will finish from inside.
Why?
We should get inside before that secondary explosion reaches us.
Good point.
Starman,
Yes, Sam.
the establishment. The one you stared at until you couldn't keep your eyes open, as a child. With the pulsing light. What was it called?
Neon lights, Sam. Neon lights. That a girl.
Thrusters, operating at 25% capacity.
Let's maneuver out of range of that secondary shockwave.
Towards the asteroid belt.
Yup. Not in it, just over there. You just did your first spacewalk, and now you're scared of a couple asteroids? Are you giving me the silent treatment over this? Fine. Where do you want to move to? Huh? What is it, Jabber? Oh, Sam. Why didn't you tell me you were running on empty? Jabber, can you get him plugged in? Stars Beyond. Why would he run himself dry? Hmm? That'll take a minute for him to boot up. Thanks, Jabber. Guess we aren't doing anything until Sleepy wakes up. Jabber, can you open the thruster panel and prepare it for work for when Sam wakes up? I want to get you down to the planet's surface for a closer reading as soon as we can. Here it comes. Hold on back there, Jabber. That wasn't too bad. In a time that's long ago, in a place where grass would grow, a very pleasant sun rose, and that's why the cow crows.
You thinking of me? That last line always bugged me. Cows crow. What kind of cows did they have? I used to argue with my mama about it, but she was dead set. That cow crowed each and every morning. Maybe it died? Like crowing over? I don't know. Who writes these things anyways?
Do you just sit on comms all day?
I like to have it on near me while I work.
Oh. Now, what do you do for work?
I monitor comms.
Of course you do, Everglade.
Cormac Greaves, actually.
Delilah Bordell. Starman.
Where you from, Starman Delilah Bordell?
Neon.
The Pleasure City itself.
You know it.
I do. You claim it?
Born and raised. How do you know it?
I did some work there a long time ago.
Well, we both know that can only mean illegal activities.
It's behind me, Stormhand. I'm out of it.
Aurora?
Off it.
Me too. 7 years.
Very nice. 11.
Congrats.
Where'd you grow up?
High Carbats District.
Oh,
Yeah.
were you?
No. My mom was. Did you partake in the pleasantries of the Pleasure City?
No, I just, know the area.
Uh-huh.
Your pops?
Yeah. A customer of hers. Never met him. She said I was better off for it.
Smart lady.
I grew up around those types of scum, though.
Must have seen a lot.
I guess. I was running drinks to customers since I could run.
That must have been adorable.
It was. Got big tips. Until I got old enough that I started catching the eye of the particularly scummy or drunk.
Felt like you were getting drawn into the family business.
That seemed like the only option. But the war broke out and the Constellation came pouring in, recruiting anyone who could follow a dotted line. It was my one shot to get out.
Your mama?
Would have stabbed me in the alley if I had decided to stay. She waved me off when the fleet came down to scoop us all up.
Sounds like a real sweetheart.
She is.
And now, here you are.
Here I am.
Well, I'm glad to have your company, Delilah.
Same. What about you, Mr. Greaves? What are you doing all the way out here, far from the reach of the United Colonies?
Me? Monitoring a comms network.
Obviously. Seriously, though, what about you?
Sitting on comms all day is more demanding than one would think. Long hours, boring, lonely even, sometimes.
Lonely how? I'm not going anywhere with a dead ship, so entertain me before another asteroid rips me in half.
What now? Your ship is down? You should have said something. Where you at? I'll swing by and give you a tow.
Oh,
What's your coordinates? You're near an asteroid belt and planet hunting. Let's see. You near that blue one or the green one? Hello? Delilah? I lose signal? No, I'm still sending. Jupiter's moon is equipment. Neon Lights, this is Everglade. Come in. Neon Lights, Everglade, over.
hey.
Hey, there you are.
Yeah, I lost you. There must be some interference from these...
Asteroids. What's your coordinates? I'll come pull you out of there.
I don't know. How do I know you aren't going to show up and be all annoyingly chatty, trying to get me to drink coffee the whole time?
Now, don't you forget incredibly charming.
Of course, and charming.
And may I be bold to say, incredibly handsome as well.
Let's not push it. Where did you get Everglade from?
My pops.
What did he do?
What didn't he do is a better question. Man, he could solve any problem that came his way. He'd make it look easy, too. He got me my job, actually. Taught me everything I know.
Are you beaming with pride right now?
I am. My ma died when I was young. Pirates.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Dealt a bad deal. Learned a lot of valuable lessons that day. Don't count those chickens before they crack. But it was me and Pops after that. All the way till his death, too.
Hatch.
Huh?
The saying is, don't count chickens before they hatch.
Are you sure? I think it's crack.
Maybe it's crow.
Maybe. The whole thing cost my pop about every chip he had. He was never the same after that. You win some and you lose some. Just don't lose the same way twice. So what he would always...
Oh, stars.
What's that?
They're just so breathtaking.
I'm sorry, what are?
The lights.
Oh, yeah. They have that effect.
So green.
Green? You're at the green one. I'll be right over.
What? No, I mean, that's not...
You should not have told that voice our location.
I didn't. He's not just some voice. Cormac...
It is. These are uncharted star sectors. Pirates control these areas, Starman Bordell.
Pirates?
We must leave this sector immediately and report to our superiors. I am going to recommend that the disciplinary action for your behavior be severe.
Sam, it isn't that.
We are in danger.
He's fine.
You shouldn't be piloting an explorer vessel
Hey,
from that
that's
chair.
not fair.
You lack the courage
I'm
and integrity of a
trying.
member of the
I'm
Constellation
sorry.
Starfleet.
Stop! Do not speak to your ranking officer like that. You are in the number 2 chair. I am the commander of the Neon Lights. Question my authority again, and I'll be forced to have you thrown into the brig when we return to the horizon. Do you understand me?
Understood.
Everglade. Everglade, Neon Lights, come in. Cormac? Cormac, come in.
Starman Bordell.
Come in. What is it, Sam?
There is a vessel approaching. We are being hailed.
Do we have a visual?
You must activate an evasive protocol.
Jabber! Monitor port side. Let me know when you have a visual of the incoming vessel. Sam,
Yes, Starman Bordell.
get this ship working now. Anything yet, Jabber?
Are you a regular or a decaf guy?
Who drinks decaf?
People who love their jobs.
That's funny. Hey, where are you?
Thrusting at about 80% max, hightailing it over. Don't want the coffee to get cold.
Well, you don't know where I am.
Don't I?
It's coming! Sam? How they looking, Sam?
They should function, but not enough to engage the thrusters. More than 40%. I'll need more time.
Okay, that should be enough to move.
We cannot outrun him.
We aren't.
You are drifting dangerously close to that asteroid belt.
I know.
I see. You're going to hide our craft amongst the asteroid belt. Very clever.
Well, that's why I'm in the number 1 chair.
I have underestimated you. Again.
Do you take 2 sugars or 3?
Do not turn the ship off completely.
Or are you one of those psychos who drinks it black? Ugh.
Why?
We may need to access our cannon. Or escape pod.
I see him. There he is. I don't think he's a pirate.
Indeed, Jabber. Delilah, do you see that symbol?
Huh?
There, on the hull of the vessel.
Yeah?
The Jolly Roger. It is now undeniable. He is a member of the Crimson Fleet.
Pirates?
It seems their reach has expanded, here to the Narian system.
Cormac's a pirate.
Do not be discouraged. The Crimson Fleet employ many methods to lure their prey, to loot upon. I'm certain they aim to seize our star charts and scrap the neon lights for parts, as well as Jabber and myself. We will not escape in our current state.
No, he can't be. That could be a smudge of paint, but it's not a pirate symbol at all.
It is a fact.
We're concealed. Let's just wait until he leaves.
He won't.
How do you know? I'm the pilot, and you're a maintenance droid.
I am a co-pilot. I am a starman of the Confederation.
Let's just hail him and talk.
A parlay attempt will certainly result
We
in our
can talk
death.
to him.
Hello? I'm in orbit. Which side are you on?
Don't.
Delilah? Did you name your ship after that brothel in Neon? I just made that connection.
He knows the name.
Why is that of note? What is it?
The Neon Lights brothel. Serviced. My father was...
Pirates. Then there is no mistaking. We cannot make contact with him.
He just put his ship into idle. He's not leaving.
The neon lights needs to be fully operational. It is a matter of moments before he discovers our location. Give the order, number 1.
Okay, fix the thrusters. Go. What is it, Jabber? He's turning the Everglade this way. Oh, let me see. Oh, stars he is.
I think I went into that brothel once. Ale tasted like piss. Maybe you were there. Wouldn't that be wild? What a small galaxy.
He's scanning for us. We need to move. No, if we turn on the engine, he will pick us up for sure. The miner? Yes. We deploy the miner and then have it drift further out into the asteroid belt. We fire its engines, then ours as soon as he engages the miner. No. The autopilot on the miner was damaged when the asteroid hit us. You're right. Okay. Sam, how much time do you need on the thrusters?
3 minutes.
That could work. Jabber, run a trajectory map between us and the Everglade. No one has to pilot it. We're going to launch it. Okay. Rotating the ship to on that axis now. The last group of space explorers. I hope you're right, Jabber. Sam?
I'm beginning to think you might have said the blue planet. Did I mishear you? Am I talking to myself?
Just a few moments.
You know, if you got sucked down to that surface and I have to spend my day rescuing you, it's gonna put a serious damper on our relationship.
What is that?
He's found us and is currently locking on to our position.
Oh, there you are. You hiding?
Jabber?
What are you doing back there? Come on out now. Let's make this nice and easy.
What's the plan?
Send it tearing through his hull. Fire!
There you are. That's a good girl. Stay right there.
Oh.
He's too heavily armed. We must engage the thrusters while the debris of the miner obstructs his vision.
Ah, that's a nice trick, Delilah. That wasn't your main vessel, right? Tiny little thing? You still back there in that belt?
You bastard!
Whoa!
I'm gonna kill you, you lying snake of a pirate!
Stay composed. It is time to leave. Turn the ship on.
Delilah, your voice is crystal clear.
Do not engage with him. We are fully operational.
We can't! He'll blast us before we can make the jump. Look!
He has deployed a claw to sift through the debris. He is moving the miner pieces from his field of view. Makes sense, given his occupation of looting space vessels. Terrible news for us.
You are making this more difficult than it has to be. I was trying to play nice.
He's going to find us.
I know.
But you are starting to piss me off.
We need an idea, First Chair.
I know. I'm thinking.
Just give me those constellation charts you've been making and I'll sell you off instead of killing you. Who knows? You may even end up back on Neon.
We need a plan.
A distraction.
Where are you going, Sam? I need you.
This vessel has a single defensive cannon. I will detach it from the ship, jettison myself further into the system, firing upon the Crimson Fleet. With that distraction, you engage the neon lights and return to the horizon.
Sam, wait. You can't. He'll die.
He is firing at random. He will get lucky with enough time.
Sam, don't do this. Please.
I was wrong, Delilah. Your courage and integrity are not in question. Each problem we have encountered, although many caused by your actions, have been ultimately solved by your decisions. Being a member of the Constellation means seeing the mission to completion, regardless of means, for the betterment of the beings of this galaxy. You have exhibited every quality found in every great commander in Constellation Fleet history. I believe the Neon Lights is in the hands of an ample commander. Give the order.
Sam.
Delilah?
Yes, Sam.
We are the last group of space explorers.
We are the last group of space explorers. Sam, go.
this? Looking for a shootout? Come on, I'll make it quick. Woo! Nice try, truly. My ears are ringing in here. I'll get all fixed up with the credits I scraped together scrapping your neon lights, though.
You didn't learn your lesson after all, Cormac.
That your engine's firing on?
Don't count your chickens before they crow. You really messed up this time, though.
Yeah? How so, neon lights?
I know what your ship looks like, asshole. I'll see you soon. Hold on, Jabber!
Citizens across the system are signing up, each doing their part to uncover the mysteries of the galaxy. With the rise of crime from uncharted systems like Sagan, Cheyenne, Lunara, and Narian systems, anger within everyday citizens has begun to rise. The effort needs you. Everyone is doing their part. Are you? We have the technology. We have the star charts. We have the star vessels. We need you. Join the Constellation today, the last group of space explorers.
Far in the future, when we find ourselves in galaxies far from where we began, home will not be so much as a place as it will be an idea. The farther away we find ourselves from that idea, the deeper our hunger to reach out into the dark for even just a taste of what we left behind. So if you choose to leave terra firma in hopes of adventures or riches, you may find yourself looking back over your shoulder to what you left behind. But take care, for in the margins of your star chart is an old familiar phrase that has been there since sailing ships ventured beyond the boundaries of the known world. Here there be dragons. The monster, though, is neither nightmarish nor disfigured. It's a pleasant face, a welcoming face, that of just another person, a person just as hungry as you are, but with tastes quite different. Transmission terminated.
I forgot to unmute us. Sorry, Chad. I'm flapping my lips this whole time. Yeah, so we're at $50,281. And I'm getting picked. Someone's mic is coming through. If anyone's watching the Twitch, just mute it. Here we go. Yes, we get some amazing feedback in chat. So we get some amazing feedback. Still getting chat. Where's that coming from? You know what? Apologies. It was me. I was the one making the mistake.
I knew it.
Yeah, we were all just staring at you.
It was me. So sorry, we missed the first cutback. So let me introduce everyone here. And as you talk, the video is going to change on the screen. First, Brian. So what did you think?
Brian, you're muted.
Ooh, Brian, mute.
Hello?
There he is.
Is this working?
Yes.
Everything is going wrong at one time.
It's fine.
There we go. All right. Hello. What was your question? I'm here.
Yeah, so I hadn't unmuted us when we first came back from break.
Oh, okay.
My bad. Amateur rookie.
Man, I'm just absolutely blown away, speechless even. Everything you guys did, to see something you care about when you write, to then be brought to life so delicately and skillfully is super cool, man. The actors really knocked it out of the park, and the music really is so good. And
yeah, let's get some love and chat going for the acting. Stellar voice acting.
Yeah, it's really cool, and the effects you put on the voice, you can't even tell that that's me doing little beep boop sounds for Jabber anymore. The effect on Sam's voice, and even making Cormac Everglade using the radio static, and how he sounds like he's getting closer as the episode progresses. And I just love those little details. Somebody mentioned it in chat while we were watching, but even Delilah sounds so alone. She sounds so different than everybody else. And I just think that kind of encapsulates what we hear about her in the first few minutes of just not, she's the only one who doesn't get a co-pilot. Nobody wanted to fly with her. So they grabbed a maintenance droid out of the bay, stuck him in the chair, and said, "You're reporting to Starman Bordell," which turned out to be the greatest thing that's ever happened to this poor maintenance droid, who I think is just it's not Delilah and Cormac being the opposite sides of the same coin. I think that they might be the same side of the same coin. They are so similar. It's Delilah and Sam that make a whole. How much Sam values the constellation. It's the greatest thing that ever happened to him. I was talking to Kara while the episode was going of, it's so about the writing and how it's so neat when Sam will call her Delilah, and when he calls her Starman Bordell, and watching his temperament shift as he composes himself, watching her make decisions that he would just make the absolute opposite in almost every situation until the end, when they find themselves in an unwinnable situation. And the only thing that needs to happen is she has to give him the command to do it, and she will get out of an unwinnable situation. So she ultimately wins his respect.
Very much a Jiminy Cricket to her Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce your cast? We're joined by
Yes, very much so, because I'm just so proud of you guys for being my cast, and so honored that you guys would do this with me. That's so cool of you. So up first, our starman, Delilah Bordell, Lori Katz.
Hi. And I have to say, Brian, right now, I think if you remember when you first asked, you asked me if we wanted to do a project with you, and I said yes. And then you told me what the project was, and I was like, I said yes. Yeah, like why are you continuing, you know? And then just send me the final script. I'll do it. And it has been an absolute honor and joy working with all of you. Um, Brian, you know, I've known you forever. Andy, I know you forever. Cara, Justin, getting to know you has been wonderful, and it's been a pleasure.
So you said yes before you even read it, but what
I
happened
did.
after you read it and you saw who this woman was and kind of learned where she came from in this world of Starfield and how you wanted to kind of attack this, then
Right.
how we worked together during the recording sessions. But what were your thoughts initially?
So my thoughts initially were, yes, I'm definitely going to do this because it hits every basic human condition. Like if you really take it back down to a need to be valued, a need to value yourself, and then really work from there, you know, there was the connection that I have with Sam, you know, and the struggle and also why I make these decisions and why I am so isolated and why no one wants to be around me. And then when you take a look at then the connection that I have with Justin, well, then that's completely different. And so there's loneliness, there's betrayal, there's connection, and there's that need to value myself and why I take risks and why I'm in the situation that I am in. And so when I was looking at the script, it was literally like you were building this foundation of a character and a core. And so when we were working together, you know, it was just layering and just putting all of those layers on one on top of the other and bringing in my perspective what I saw and then you bring your perspective of what you intended and then seeing, you know, one, obviously you're the director and the writer, so that goes. But I think there was these nuances that we found that were so great. And what you said earlier about Sam, um, you know, as much as he's a droid, he's a maintenance droid, but he's my family. And that is very evident at that point. He has become such a major part of my life. And, you know, now I have nothing. And so it just led me to that point of rage and revenge and complete and total heartbreak at the end.
Yeah, and I think that just you played it really well as well, and you see it bleed through just how scared, heartbroken when she learns what Sam's going to do, and then just right at the end, the bite comes out of oh, you think you got me now, but you grew up on Neon,
Exactly.
and I'm going to get you back once I kind of clean my teeth up off the floor. You know, I've seen what your
Yeah.
ship looks like.
That
Um,
strength comes through, that strength, that revenge, you know, that
so
street smart.
so we did this in a fashion that's not totally common in the voiceover world, and that was since most of us or all of us here kind of come from the stage, television, and film world. With just I think Lori is the most experienced in voiceover here. We decided that we were going to record it as a cast. So Lori, Andy, and Justin and I got together and read it like we would a play. And I think it shows. So I'd like to kind of go over and segue into bringing Justin in. Of one, Justin, what was that experience like to record together, and how much experience do you have in voiceover before this?
Um, I had none in terms of, I mean, I've auditioned for voiceover work, but I've never done voiceover and like that. So for me, especially having no experience, to me it was the best possible scenario, especially because Brian, you just had such a wonderful point of view, such a specific point of view, which for me was very helpful. It was like, to me, it was just working on a play, just in my closet, you know, um, which was really great because, and I thought it was brilliant, especially at least from my perspective, because I don't, you alluded to, Laura, you talked about how, typically it's you just kind of do your lines and you do it a few different ways. But I agree with you, especially hearing it. Uh, don't think that I would have the same sort of connection, that would come through with with Laura, with Starman, with Delilah, without that, just for me and my own experience, and because of my experience in theater, film, and TV, it was wildly helpful. I can't imagine. I honestly can't imagine doing it a different way. Um, so yeah, it was very helpful.
I'm glad this was your
May I
first way. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I cut in really quickly? Yeah, Justin, I agree with you. Because, as Everglade, as Justin was doing different things with Everglade, and even in our rehearsals, and I had that opportunity with Delilah to also do different things. And so we were twisting and turning and finding those nuances that when you're just giving lines and, it's anywhere from you give 3 to 5 takes of a line, you know, you don't have those different nuances because the other person is surprising you as opposed to it being planned in your head.
Yeah. Justin, when so I reached out to you one day after acting class, and I said, because I had originally written the role of Everglade to be played by me, and Justin and I have been in class together for some years, and he just did some work that night that I just went, I'm getting a little overwhelmed trying to do all of it. And I said, this guy's so good. I can hear it in his voice. And my goodness, dude, it comes through in the performance. There's been comments on the performance of like, there's red flags, but I can change him.
There was a lot of that.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts initially when I asked you to come in to the production? And then what were your thoughts after reading the script and kind of seeing maybe where this villain was coming from?
Yeah, well, look, first, I'm always incredibly humbled when a peer and someone I admire asks me to be a part of anything. So from that standpoint, again, I'm a big believer in Philip Seymour Hoffman, act, relate, let you. So I was in all the way. And then I think your first words to me when you started talking about the uh, story before you got into it a bit was so basically space cowboy. So okay, I'm into that. I don't. Great, you can stop there. Um, but again, the process itself, and again, I and Brian, yeah, we've had the opportunity to work. It's such an advantage as an actor when you're working on a project with somebody who you speak the same language with. It's such an advantage that again, it makes it a lot more fun. Um, because you can say less. There's a lot more. It's very scary, especially for me. In my life I've struggled with voice, so to do voice work and it's just my voice, it takes a lot of trust and patience and with one another, and so that added to it a lot for me, which was it was just an opportunity to do something I had never done, and then getting the opportunity to read the story. I mean, and I'm not I'm not a huge gamer. Like I grew up with sports games and stuff. Um, because the biggest reason is the first time 007, what's that, 007 came out, the shooting game, and I was so bad because I was killed immediately always that I just gave up and I never, and so I didn't even know what this kind of world would be. And as you talked about and described the world more, and this is what I was talking about with just how specific you were in the world. Just hearing the story took me on a ride. Reading it was the same. And just the joy of, again, being in a closet and getting to do this on a whatever night we were. At the time I was in Kentucky. It was, I don't know, especially in that period in the world. Um, the whole process was an absolute joy. When it was over, it was oftentimes I've experienced this with parts I've been lucky enough to play for any sort of period of time, where you're kind of like you miss that part. I miss Cormac, just because
Yeah.
you think, well, you never really get them, because and then again, that's the part. I mean, I know, the humanity of Cormac, and I was excited for that challenge. Here's a guy who, to your point, I agree with you, and I think we talked about this. That Delilah and Cormac are on the same side of the same. They're on the same side of the coin. and that kind of loneliness and what it can kind of breed without that connection. So
Yeah.
it was fun to explore.
Brian,
Generational. Oh,
Brian,
go
there's
ahead,
a
Ken.
lot of people asking for that. They want to see what happens next. And sorry,
Yeah.
before I let you turn back over to you, I just did want to thank the 2 anonymous donations that came in. So we're now at $50,506 raised for the kids of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Thank you very, very much. Those 2 anonymous donations. Big love to you.
Yeah, man. I already know where this story is going. I truly hope we get to revisit it because we have set up something epic between a member of the Constellation and a member of the Crimson Fleet. And now when you play the game, the Crimson Fleet at times are you're just running through bases and fighting bad guys. But what I really wanted to kind of create was we're starting off with what you were kind of talking about, Justin, of this, it's generational dysfunction bleeding down to these 2 people that are now in circumstances that maybe they wouldn't have been in had their childhoods been different. We talked about Cormac's father being a fantastic pirate, the mother being killed by pirates in a deal gone wrong, and then Cormac learns the lesson: don't ever be wrong twice the same way. But Cormac isn't a fighter, as we see in the final scene. He just isn't as good as what other Crimson Fleet pilots would be. So he has gotten very good at using the tools he has to fight, which was sit on the radio and lure people in. With the charm that he has, he installed a giant sifter on the front of his ship to peel apart the vehicles. So we talked about that, and then you went away and did work on it after we did rehearsals on it. And when you came back, after learning kind of digesting that backstory a little bit, how did you come back when we came back to record? How did that come into play when you actually were opposite these other people now?
Well, I think it just, for me as an actor, when you get even if it's this much about childhood life of the character, the longer you can sit in those circumstances, that's, it's easy to look at a guy like Cormac and go, oh, wow, this guy's he's a mess. And he is a mess, but he's a mess for a reason, to your point about generational. Dysfunction, if you will, and how it again, and I love that it's set in space. You talk about just the vastness of it and the loneliness of it, and what that could be, just being in a ship and sitting on comms all day, because you don't want to get too close, because ultimately it ends in just absolute disaster and pain. So this is just a path of least resistance. So I just tried to say, I just sat in the water, if you will, with what we talked about, without trying to get too heady about it, and then just put it into to what I was ultimately, what Cormac is ultimately after, in those moments. And again, because we were able to we did the reading, or we did the recording rather, the way we did it. For me, it allowed a lot more flexibility. It allowed a lot more color. And again, with you also being there, it could have just been somebody else running the show for whatever reason, but because you were also there, I felt complete freedom to just jump with the work I had. And as you know, as an actor, you just kind of got to let all that go.
Yeah.
And just go after what you're after. I mean, I'm a sports person growing up, so between the white lines, you just got to go, just see ball, get ball. So
Yeah.
that was kind of what I tried to do.
Yeah, you came in and you sat in that pocket really well. And then the only thing we really needed to stop, take breaths, and digest was just how violent he's willing to get at the end, right? That the how that mask of charm and masculinity comes off, and we get the vicious tiger. It's time to get the meal. And I think I think it reads really well. What I'm excited for, were we ever to get to return it, is to watch these two stories sort of develop, and get to kind of know that, a kind of an anti-hero sort of thing of why do people become the way they are when nobody is the villain of their own story. So thanks, man. Let's move down the bench here. Kara, hi. Welcome.
Good evening, sir.
The voice of the neon lights. You came into the process much later than everyone else, as I rounded out the main cast first. But I had a great mentor once say, people remember good work. And when I needed to think of somebody to come in and really nail this calm, collected, like this voice of the ship during types, like collision imminent, like and you just nailed it. What are your thoughts when I originally asked and kind of you first read the script and then heard this kind of final product?
Yeah. So when you asked, I think I was like 8 months pregnant and super stressed out. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this, but send the script. I'm an actor. I'll buck up and like take care of it, right? So he sends me the script and I prepare for like pages and pages and pages of dialogue to really get down. And then I found all 2 of my lines and I was like, okay, I think I can do this. And no, but it was great. And I loved the script. And like Justin, I'm not a gamer. I also played GoldenEye when it came out. I turned my into a wall and I couldn't turn around. And so from then on, I just really didn't participate in video games much. But my husband's a big gamer and I have a lot of respect for them and for the acting and voice work that goes into that world. I love it. And it's something that I'm like, oh, I want to be a part of this. So being offered something like this was so lovely. And I really did feel honored when you asked. And I read the lines and I was like, oh, okay, I know, I did. And I was like, I know who this ship is. So I took my professional microphone. I'm holding up my I went into my closet as well, which is luckily well insulated due to a shopping addiction. And I recorded the lines for you.
Now you're an one of the best actors I've ever seen in person, like not on a movie screen. Like you ever see it in person, you go, wow, you are amongst the best actors I've ever seen in person. You've done great theater, you've done some television, you've been in movies, and then you have to walk away with your phone and say the same like 2 or 3 lines 5 different ways. And you're like, but I'm not there. So you're like, guess I'll just send this off. Like, what does that feel like after all the greatness that you do to have to do that?
Oh no, it wasn't having to do that, it was getting to do that. I was so excited when you asked me and like I really did see it and I was like, "Oh, this is so fun. I can't wait." And so I got to go into my closet with my phone and I got to try it 5 different ways. And like I said, I kind of knew just reading it was so clear what it was. So I kind of I knew what you wanted. And so it wasn't hard to deliver that.
It's fantastic. Thank you. Let's segue over to now. When I wrote this, Delilah was like the thing that I kept close to me. Like I really wanted her story to be told. And then by the end of writing it, it was clear that Everglade, like, oh, I really started to pay attention to him. Like I really fell in love with this character. And then as we were recording it, and after the final product, and after months and months and months of sitting without this story anymore, my heart has just been with Sam. Sam is the unsung hero of this story through and through. So I wanted to introduce you all.
For Sam.
F's in chat for Sam. Now for you non-gamers, F is
well.
Welcome, buddy. Andy Guion.
How is it going?
Great. This is great, man.
Yeah,
to
so cool.
Make something and have it just be made and received so well. Why don't you tell everyone about yourself, your film, television, and incredible actor, and then I'll kind of ask you a couple questions.
voice acting. You know what's so funny about this, what we're all talking about, is I'm so technically dumb about stuff. Brian, I've known Brian for years now, and I call him with every problem I ever have. And we were recording this in my closet, and we were all together, and we finished the first take. We're all like, okay, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't have this. I recorded on my laptop. Is that bad? And so you had to do the whole 45-minute. Everyone's just like, huh? What? Okay. So what's everyone doing?
We were
next
judging you. We were
Tuesday?
judging you.
And I was like, well, look, I'm like a robot guy, so you can make my voice sound like a robot, right? Like, and we can just mask the whole thing, right? But man, it was so cool because Sam is so Hermione Granger, right? He's read all the books, he knows the way things need to go, and I just love that he's like, he so badly wants to be like Delilah. It's clear by that last speech that he's wants so badly to like break the rules and wants that reason to be a starman. Because what's the chances that, he's read all the books, but he's had to have also heard the stories. So how do you become the hero? I don't know. What a cool character. Again, like everyone else has said, it acted itself, it felt like, because written so well. All the turns, all the points were dead on. So kudos to you for making it so lovely.
Thanks, man. That really feels good. It really feels good. That's it. I'll take it.
We were all amongst.
Take it,
So
man.
there are a number of us writing this season, and one of the things we were all talking about amongst ourselves is Brian has a really great gift for writing. Like, you need to do more of this, because what you cranked out so quickly was incredibly good. Really good, riveting stuff.
Thank you, man. I ventured down the rabbit hole and read the first draft, and it wasn't as good. So I'm glad I learned from the great writing podcasts. I learned from the great teachers I had. Writing is rewriting, and you have to kill your darlings. You have to kill your little words. And I'm glad. But we talked about before we streamed how I have a hard time writing until I get inspired, and then it just flies out. And I in 30 days, I think I pumped out 6 drafts of this thing. And it was just, I don't know. I just love the lore. I love every game Bethesda's pretty much ever made, So I was so excited. And again, we wrote this before the game released. So, and before a lot of those massive videos came out explaining the lore. So a lot of it was me just combing and putting myself into this world. There was a small video released, if you guys remember, one of the first ones. And there was just a shot of Vasco. Right. And there was just one shot of this robot companion, and it just,
oh yeah,
what was that? Go back. Oh my. And I thought of like Interstellar,
yes,
with TARS. And I went,
yes.
Do we have a robot companion? This is amazing. So I tried to do as much digging as I could, and we just didn't know yet. But I was like, I don't care. There's a robot companion, and he's sentient, and he has feelings. And I thought of I'm a terrible nerd. The robot from Rogue One, played by Alan Tudyk, and TARS from Interstellar. But this guy had arms. Vasco has arms. So I just was like, just start to put them together and let's see what comes out.
Well, it's one writing of these things where like emotion is elicited from the conflict, right? And you set it up so well to crash into each other. It's so good.
Yeah, I think so too. The idea that these two are put in a ship together, and she's put in charge of him, is like, you'll notice there's so many times where Sam doesn't respond, Or she'll say, "Do you understand me?" And he goes, "Understood." Because that's what a Starman does. Roger that. All right. But inside, he's just fuming. It's just so it just, yeah, we set them up to crash into each other before the climax of the film. It was, he pops a little bit. So when we were recording, Andy, we had to like just dial back and forth of how much is this guy robot versus how much are we going to let the production do the work for us. Do I need to talk like this, or are we going to have like some sort of voice modulation we're doing? How much is this guy feeling? And then we'll let that do the work. And we started super robot, so we didn't need that first take anyways. And then we started to dial him all the way, and I think we hear the third take that we did of the show in the final product for the most part, if I remember correctly, where we just started like, let's make him more and more human and let all the great work you've done just start to exist. And every now and again it comes in, and you can hear it in his speech patterns. So why don't you, from your point of view, we're in the booth and we're going, how did you come at playing? How did you play a robot?
And Andrew, thank you for the donation there. Sorry, Andy.
No. That's really awesome, by the way. That's amazing how much you're raising and all that. That's out of this world, insane. I can't comprehend it.
This community
Congratulations.
kicks ass.
God, are you kidding me? That's amazing.
We funded 5 life-saving surgeries so far. 5 life-saving surgeries.
You guys, that's serious. Awesome. That's so serious. Amazing. I just can't even. Yeah.
Can I just say it's so cool to be a part of this too, for this cause?
So cool. Yeah, that's actually another reason. Yeah, it's a big reason. It's very dear to me. So yeah, all of it amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Truly one of those, like, how am I here right now? Like, what? That's just crazy. So congratulations on all that hard work. But like I said, it's really in the script. It's all right there. And by just pushing all the way robot and just like bringing you my homework and you kind of like letting me like just take it back, it's one of those things where if you work on something for a certain amount of time, it becomes a habit. So then when I just sat down to do it, it just kind of came out easily. And it was very like, Siri, yes, how can I help you? Okay, that's great. It's very like Siri, you know what I mean?
You just did that like it was so easy, but that was great.
It's so like being there with Lori brought the human parts out. So if I sunk back into robot, being there and having to take care of, protect, to usher, brought out that human side a little bit. And what's so cool about the story is we're in for how was it, 40 minutes, 45 minutes? How long is the piece?
48 minutes.
48 minutes. Even listening to the end, like I really cared about the characters. I really loved them because every time we visit them, we get to love them a little more. And we're not with them. We feel by the end that we've been with them for longer. And I too am like, what happens next? Like, what is going to happen? When she says like, I'll see you later, asshole. I'm like, yeah, baby. Yeah.
It's on.
It's on. It's Safari, bro. Safari. Like,
what would you like to see happen? Could Sam's memory drive be recovered?
Oh, we're gonna marvel it.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I know that I want to, because okay, so she has to go team up now, right? She's got to go get her team or something like that because, well, she has her dog, which is so cool, and that's you doing the beep boops, isn't it? So good. Yes. Okay. Great.
I had to watch to see actually how Lucasfilm turned voice into modulation. I had to figure out how to edit to recreate that effect.
How did that work? What was that like?
It took like 8 hours, I think, before I figured out how to do it. Yeah.
So how do you do it?
Oh, I'll send you a list. It's already gone out of my head.
That's so cool. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. She's Dorothy now. Dorothy's lost, and the tornadoes hit. She's scattered. She has her little dog, and now we've got to meet the Tin Man and Scarecrow, and we got to get on with the story, right? I mean, what's going to happen next?
Something interesting that I was talking about before we switch back with Lori is we're in a unique situation where they both know each other's voice. They know their ships, but they don't know the face.
Yeah.
And I think also we had talked about I've given up more information. Well, Delilah, and I'm sorry, I still speak in eyes when I talk about her. Gave up way more information than Cormac and Everglades gave back to Delilah. So yeah, that's a very interesting dynamic, and I would really love to have Sam back, but whatever.
I like to imagine that all the maintenance droids have Andy's voice. They all have the same voice. Imagine how terrible that would be. Just stop. Just stop.
Well, I mean, Ripley did it in Aliens, and like the third one, they go open up what's his name's face. I can't remember the one robot, like just his head and spinal cord were left, and she like unwraps him to talk to him a little bit. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Bishop.
Yeah, Bishop. Thank you. I couldn't remember his name. Yeah, Bishop comes back, right?
Yeah. If chat, if you guys have any questions for our cast, we have them for a few more minutes. We can start to let maybe that kind of come in. Ken, if you have any questions for anybody, I have a question for you, and that is how on earth did you start this? You told me briefly the history of Chad, but maybe you could tell us again, or tell it to the cast knows, and how this started.
Yeah. So I grew up. My grandmother was really into radio drama, and we had an old record player. I used to spend summers up with her at an island off the coast of New Brunswick, Canada. So we're talking like the 80s. So there's no internet. I didn't even have far to go, much less a Huffy bike. So it was, hanging around the house with the wood stove, reading and listening to radio drama. And I got really into radio drama at an early age. And it was always something I was really into. When Fallout 76 first came out, I started writing some stories just for Reddit and Facebook groups that people really liked. So we started the Chad podcast, which initially was just me doing a journal style radio drama of my adventures, kind of diary style, and then brought in a whole ensemble cast to the point that now we have a cast of 36 different people. Some of the Bethesda developers have joined us. And now we mostly just do all of this for charity, for the sheer joy of it. We're just shy now of 1 million listeners since we started this journey 3.5 years ago, and it's kind of insane. With this show in particular, one of the things that I wanted to do is a lot of the times, as you know, Brian, my time is the X factor here. It's always kind of in the way of stuff that we want to do. So I wanted to try and do an anthology show where we bring in different writers for a Twilight Zone, Outer Limits style, each to tell stories of their own, but we're all kind of playing in the same sandbox of Starfield. So just doing space epics. And that's kind of how we started with Frontier. Yeah.
Incredible, dude. That's so cool. And you're almost at $50,600 raised for St. Jude.
Yeah, 50,586. So we're in total. That was one of the things that Andy was talking about earlier. The charity part of this didn't come into play until 2020. And Justin, you were talking earlier about how weird it was with lockdown between that and everything. Isolation kind of played a part. So Fallout for Hope was born from that terrible year, um, where I didn't want to end it a year so awful without trying to turn it into something new and hopeful going into a new year. So now what started is just kind of like maybe we'd get a few friends to stream with us. There's now over 700 of us in 86 countries. We get together a few times a year like this to all in one voice say no to something, whether it's Alzheimer's or heart disease, or in this case, kids who should be home and they're fighting for their lives right now. So everything that this community does has real world impact at a time when it very much is needed.
That's incredible, man. We got a question for Justin. Justin, one of the members of chat watching the stream right now says, how was it for you to play a voice in the situations where you stay so calm and sound like such a luring professional? How are you luring? How are you staying so calm? How are you doing that?
That's a great question. I'm gonna be honest. I had a lot of well, again, this goes back to what I was saying earlier about having Brian right there with us, because it's like having a director. Okay, let's try it again. Maybe think about this. And also, not only again, thank you, Brian, you brought it up. We did have a rehearsal with this, so it's not like we were, because when we did we did it twice, right, Brian? We did, but there was like, okay, go in 48 minutes or 50 minutes or however long we
Which is
read
also
straight through.
not standard, by the
Yeah,
way.
right.
But I
There's
said
no.
we're gonna run the whole story, so because there's such momentum that needs to be built, tension that needs to be played out, and I just know that it's going to make the post-production process easier, rather than them trying to build the tension by themselves. That we as professional actors can, we can do that if we just kind of bend the rules a little bit of voice acting, and we'll all hit record at the same time, and we won't be able to hear each other, and we'll just do the show right here. But I think
Yeah,
that helped.
it helped, and I think because again, while we were, I could because we had a Zoom thing going while we recorded. So my whole kind of inner of dialogue, if you will, was um in order to stay to basically to answer your question, I hope is that it was like just I got her, man. Just I got her. Just stay with that as opposed to trying to get ahead of myself and that, and again that with having Lori right there with me, having Delilah right there with me, um, it's just tremendously helpful to be able to do that, and I think it just adds a lot to it.
The biggest
I'm not certain I would have been able to accomplish it without that.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I've been hearing from people who have heard the episode now is that the chemistry between Everglade and Delilah and the two long interactions they have, is of note. You just find yourself holding your breath, listening to how these subtle sounds that they're making. Would you just say that was accomplished? Because I mean, when we were recording it, it was clear as day while we were recording. The chemistry, the back and forth, the Chekhov push and pull was so there. Were you aware of it? And did you?
You can feel it. I can feel it. I mean, I've certainly I've been on sets with and done plays with people where I'm like, oh God, you know, it's like this ain't working, man. But you can just feel it. And again, there's it's not. I would say it's never on one person. This is what I love about this game is the camaraderie and team atmosphere that medium requires in order to have a successful production of anything. Without the team mentality first, it all falls by the wayside. And um, yeah, I would just say it's just a combination of that, and then having Lori right there and being able to play with, being able to play. And I also had the advantage of being able to see her on the Zoom too. So that's also helpful. Again, I got her, man. This girl, I got her, man.
Now, one more question. Well,
May I add real quick?
Also,
And just say, Brian, that actually comes from trust, from my end, trusting you, and then trusting Justin that I'm gonna play now, and I'm gonna throw the ball to you, and you're gonna take that ball and you're gonna toss it back, and that's the beauty of this, of working with people that you trust, that you just go for it, and it's absolutely wonderful when it works.
yeah, Kara, you were going to say?
as a humble listener, I was blushing, you guys. You nailed it. Very, very sexy.
Now to Justin, and then the same question to Lori afterwards. Can chemistry be made, built, or is it just innately there?
I'm sorry, Lori, was it me first or
You first, Justin, and then
okay.
Lori. Yeah.
Look, I've had a wonderful teacher in my life who said the actor can must create the chemistry. In other words, because there are a lot of instances in film and TV, especially, where you don't get the opportunity. For example, if you're in Lord of the Rings, you're not. I wasn't in Lord of the Rings, unfortunately, but just you deal a lot with green screens. You have to be able to perceive what you're trying to perceive. I'm not saying it's easy to do, but it is something an actor must know how to do. Um, Auditions are similar, um, but every once in a while, well, hopefully more times than not, you are presented with an opportunity. And again, I know Lori from class, not as long as Brian or Andy or Cara, but still long enough to have seen her work on incredible material. Um, and to Lori's point, that there's a trust to that. I can go, I can go any which way, and she's going to throw the ball back. So when you have created something for yourself, again, you're talking about intentions and objectives and all that, what I want out of this person to a very specific way, and I was able to do that with Brian in our rehearsals and stuff. And then on top of that, you get an actress as talented as Lori, who's done also the work. And then you really have something. So I think it's yes to both. I personally believe it's a yes. The great actors, I think Meryl Streep would have chemistry with anybody. I just do. I've heard, but that's my opinion. I'm not saying that's correct. So I hope that answers it.
Lori, now the chemistry between the two of you just burns through the earphones. What was that experience like while recording? Were you aware of it? And do you think that chemistry is something that's innately there, or something that's to be made by a director and the actors, or just the actor's responsibility? How do you approach that?
So I can tell you, I definitely was aware of it. I mean, within the first rehearsal, I mean, we just went for it, and we just started, and we just kept building. I agree with Justin. That is twofold. As an actor, yes, you meet somebody, for instance, on set, and 5 minutes later, you have to do an intimate scene with them. So you have to be prepared to have that chemistry. That being said, it is also helpful, and it's on the director, and it's also on the other actor to give back and create that element of trust that the actor has done the homework. The director has a clear vision, putting us in a safe environment, and then trusting that you are going to give it back. And I have the pleasure and the honor that I know Brian, I know Andy, I know Cara, and I know Justin, and I know everyone's work. And so while it is on the actor, it becomes much easier when there's an actor and you're just like, I'm literally bringing my A game to the Super Bowl. Come on, let's play. And that's what this is. If you really want to take it into like, football terms, it's the Super Bowl and we're playing. And that's the glory of it. And to be honest with you, I think it's the fact that we're all friends and that we have seen each other in classes. It takes the stress off and it makes it easier. Does that answer the question
Yeah.
completely?
Yeah.
I have
And
something
then-
on that from an editing standpoint. Normally, for audio, particularly, one of the first things that we do is go through and kind of clean up audio to remove breaths and kind of clean up pacing and whatnot. Because of the way that Brian recorded this, and because of that chemistry, when I first started editing it, I went back and undid everything I did because it became really clear to me that every pause and every breath, all of that was specifically meant to be there.
Thank you.
Yeah, so when I started editing, I was like, no, this isn't right. That's supposed to be there.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, so I
Thank
went
you,
back and
because
undid everything and put it back.
That's, I hate to interrupt, but
No.
that means so much because in voice acting, it's sometimes hard to hear those pauses when you're seeing a production and you're seeing the film or you're seeing the stage. You literally see what the person is thinking during those pauses. And so that, to me, that you did that is such an amazing compliment because it means to me that at least you could feel what our emotions were, our intentions were, and I'm starting to tear up, so I'm gonna stop talking now.
But no, it was coming through and clear, so I understood what you were doing, and just got out of the way. I think sometimes you can over edit or second guess actors without trying to understand what they were doing or thinking that it was done with intent.
When we talk about chemistry, we generally think of like, oh, they have to be intimate together, and that's what chemistry means. I don't think so. I think chemistry is the reaction of one thing to another thing. So for Andy playing Sam, the chemistry between him and Delilah is there, but it doesn't play in the traditional way, as in you just feel a little bit of a head bucking and a passive aggressiveness between the two of them throughout most of the piece. And I guess it just sort of starts to feel uncomfortable in the recording sessions because that's what was really happening. And there was a pause that made the cut of after he says understood, right? And she says, I'm going to have you thrown in the brig, and he says understood. And there's this long drawn out thing of how the two of you, even while recording, were just stewing in your chairs. How do you approach that? And is it even conscious because you have to come in and just react off the other person and play actions, or do you put thought into how are these two people existing in the same room?
I'm super comfortable with Lori, especially because we took Meisner for years. And so we had a couple of screaming matches. And so I knew that we could kind of go at each other if we had to. And it might not get like that in our piece, but it really, it's a moment thing. It's the moment. I see and hear and feel what you're doing. Okay. So it happens right there. It's not we're not reheating it. We're cooking it right there.
Not reheating last Thursday's meatloaf. Yeah. I love that. We had a question in chat, and it's to me on writing. How do these characters appear to you when you start writing? For me, I think of a quote about the characters coming out of the woods and telling you their story. Is it the same for you? No, but that's beautiful. I might use that. I mean, I like that. No, I used to when I first started writing years and years and years ago, of like, I'm just going to put pen to paper and just go. And I found that the rewrites and the editing was so painful, because there was no structure to the story. I got this constant note in school that drove me crazy until I just got it, which was one of the teachers, who was an accredited writer, would say, Brian, this isn't a story. These are just things happening. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's having an argument with his wife, and then he goes to the bar and he has a drink. He gets in a fight. Like that's a story, right? It's not. A story means a very specific thing happens, but until except, and rather than getting into the super nitty gritty of writing, I've found that structure allows me to be free, which is so funny because that's true in acting as well, that I build the house so that way I can explore all the rooms freely. So when I'm writing, I have notes on my phone, and I only open the note if I have an idea. And an idea is only an idea until you can say but, except, or until. A guy is going to work is not a story. A guy is going to work, but he is abducted by aliens. I don't know, right? That is okay. That is an idea. Okay. So then I write that down. If I'm still thinking about it later, then I go, well, let me see if there's a log line in this. So there's a structure to log lines, and I see if I can't find a log line. If that's the case, and I go, oh, that is a log line. Now there are a thing called turning points in stories, right? These are plot points that have to exist. If you've ever watched a film and you've been watching for about 20 minutes, and you look to the person sitting with you and you go, what is this even about? That's not crazy. That is a story point flaw. It means the setup to the story is too long. We're watching the character in their ordinary life too long, and nothing has happened yet. So knowing that, and a lot of writers love Save the Cat, and it's just incredibly structured, right? On page 56, this will happen. I don't do that particularly anymore. What I do like to know, though, is about 10%, 15% into your story, something needs to happen to your hero that is very out of the ordinary. And that is, you're backing up every single morning in your driveway, and normally you might just scrape the mailbox, but today you got T-boned by the milk truck. And now we have a story. I'll get those story points written out, whether they're on cue cards, whether they're in final draft, whatever it is. So that way I then know by 75% of the way through my 99-page script that I need to be here in this ballpark here. And then you just play with the idea of getting into the scenes as late as possible and getting out of the scenes as early as possible. And if you do that, then the story really starts to unfold. I can sit and write the whole thing in one go because I've taken the hours or the days to Kara has her baby. The stream can't see it, but I see it. The idea the story will start to unfold because I've already carved out the path for the story to be told. Kara, unmute yourself and say something so everyone can see you.
Baby.
This
Baby.
is Brony.
Oh.
Hello. This is her first interview.
Oh, she's adorable.
You.
All right, this is the Sloan Show now. I don't know if that answered the question, but there you go.
No, that definitely did. Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to characters, just think of it. I just think of it like this. At the end of this hallway, everyone turns left, but this person's going to turn right. They're going to do something that's strange compared to normal terms. There's a great acting mentor of all of ours. His name's Larry Moss. And he says, we want to see interesting characters make difficult choices in front of us in real time. Don't tell me about, the worst thing that ever happened to them. Show me. And I try to use that. I want to see interesting characters. Why does this person turn right? And then we learn, oh, she actually was raised in a brothel. in High Carbat District in Neon. That makes sense why she is flying solo and she has a mechanical droid as her co-pilot. And then making difficult choices comes from conflict. And that is two opposing forces who want two different things, or it could be the same thing, but two different things. And the only way to it is through the other one. And I think it plays to Cormac, because I would love to revisit the story and show you kind of what my plans are for him. But a protagonist does not mean a hero. We know that. There could be anti-heroes. But an antagonist does not mean villain. It just means the opposing force to the protagonist. So I would just love to see that. So we have interesting characters making difficult choices in real time, showing me the events that unfold rather than telling me they unfold, which, by the way, is not easy in radio drama form. So I really had to sit and digest, okay, I know what I see, but how do I convey that here? I think it plays well. And I don't know, man, Ken, I just trusted, like with her floating in space, they're working outside, the planet is green and exploding. She lets go of the side and floats away and is having the time of her life. And I just
Brian
trusted
did not
that.
make it easy on me.
I said, I think they're going to be able to make this
58 hours
work.
of editing time, you bastard.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
No, it was.
It
absolutely
came
was.
out
Yeah.
very good. Very good. It's one heck of a way to launch the season. So I'm so excited to see what the rest of the episodes hold. I really enjoyed working with you. I hope we get to work together in the future one day. This is my cast, so we will be coming back whenever you need us on anything else.
I think they want you back.
I hope so.
So we're at 50,586, and already 426 people are listening on Spotify, which is awesome because we just dropped the episode there. So we have, folks, we've got more weeks to go. We end on December 30th for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We'll be doing some more streams. Next, you're going to see me on Friday. I'll be streaming some Fallout 76 with Jay, and we'll be having some fun in Atlantic City update. And before we go, I want to make sure that everyone knows where they can find you all. And Brian, I'd mentioned at the top of the stream, also streams here on Twitch. And
yes.
Let me do a shout out. Make sure you follow. There we go. Yeah, definitely make sure you go follow Brian.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else do you got going on, man?
My kids have a dentist appointment tomorrow. We're playing D&D tonight in about 30 minutes on that channel that he just posted.
Yeah,
so
baby.
That's going to be fun.
I still have never been invited back, and I'm personally offended.
Well, that's because of that one thing you did in that village. Probably shouldn't have done that.
I know. I still want to come back. I'll do another thing in a different village. How's that?
And I think Kara said she wanted to explore D&D one day too.
May I just say, I'm very, I was very much looking forward to, Andy, your background being the D&D dungeon, and I didn't
I
get that
made
today,
sure
so.
it wasn't this time.
I wish it would have been.
Well, that's great, man. I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
What happened in that one village that one time? The chat wants to know. Well, Lori made a D&D character where she said, I'm going to have a bunch of spells, and I'm going to say, anytime I want to cast a spell, I'm going to roll a dice, and whatever that is the spell I'm going to cast.
Hey, wait a minute. Say Terry Pratchett because they will know where it's coming from. As soon as you say Terry Pratchett, you know Rincewind the wizard.
There you go. We'll see if chat knows what that is.
It's Terry Pratchett. Y'all better know. Lori, where can people follow you, see what you're up to?
Sure. So Lori Katz, Katz, thoughts on Instagram. I do have a website, which is just my name. And you can also reach out to me on Facebook. I'm pretty accessible.
Cool. Next in the list, Justin.
You can't find me on any
Anywhere.
internet source. I'm a ghost. I'm in space.
Are you working on anything cool that you can talk about?
Not at the moment. The strike's ending.
Good.
It's pending an agreement, but so no, at the moment I got nothing. So you'll see me when you see. I hope to see you down the road. I'll say that.
You can find Justin somewhere in the United States.
That's
Keep your
right.
eyes peeled.
I'm out here. You see me on the street.
Andy, what about you? What do you got going on?
I don't think anybody will want to, but if you want to follow me, I'm on
Andy.
Instagram. It's Andy Guion, all one word, all lowercase. I put up a lot of my film stills on there and stuff like that. And you can find me in a few minutes as a scribe wizard in Brian's game coming up in a
Show
minute.
off.
Do the voice.
Yes, do the voice.
Oh, no. You had to come to the stream for that.
Oh.
Andy does a voice the whole time.
So yeah, that's where I'll be kicking around.
Awesome. Lori.
It's Kara's next.
Oh,
and her
Kara, sorry.
Beautiful little baby.
Yes.
That is quite all right. Yeah, I will be changing a diaper soon. That's what I'm up to. And I'm on Instagram. It's just Kara Lofton. I don't do much there, but yeah, this one keeps me busy.
Awesome. Thank you all very, very much. If you've not followed us on Spotify or Apple iTunes, pretty much wherever you can listen to podcasts, you will find our show. This has been really amazing, really special story, awesome way to kick off the very first episode of Frontier Stories from Starfield. And we have a lot more stories to tell you that we're really excited about. Thank you all very much. Brian, thank you and your amazing cast. Thank you all. Let's get some hype going in chat. Brian, are you streaming right now? Because we can raid into you.
I'm not, no. But
Right,
thank you.
Before we do, let's pass this party on to someone else who's streaming for St. Jude. The one and only Montator. Everyone's mom in the wasteland. She is just lovely. We're going to raid into Montator. And there we go. Rating in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Good night, everyone, and have a lovely week. And I hope to see you Friday.